Hey guys, it's Kim. It's day one of our 21-day graphic design camp, and I'm going to start today off by talking to you a little bit about Canva. Canva is one of the programs that I use on a regular basis, actually. I kind of refer to it as graphic design for dummies because they have a lot of really cool pre-made layouts and stuff that you can use, and you can just like plug in your own words and text and your own pictures and things like that and adjust colors, and it's pretty simple and pretty cool. So that's what we're going to start with today. If you haven't already, head over to canva.com and create your free account, and let's get started. Okay, so here we are over in canva.com, like canvas without the S. This is the basic screen that you're going to come up to when you first sign up for an account. And like I said, you can sign up for a free account. It's forever free, from what I understand. It's been like that for as long as I've known it's been around. You can have a free account. I do have a paid account, so I'm going to show you both the free account and the paid account. But first I want to show you just a couple little really cool things about this home page, because you don't see this while you're in the back, like when you're logged in. So first of all, down here at the bottom, they've got a couple different things that you can check out, and what I really like is something that is relatively new with Canva, and it's called Photo Editor. I believe it's just canva.com/photo-editor. And you can get to this and you can actually use it as a photo editor, because you're not able to edit photos in Canva per se. You can apply filters and things like that to it, but you can't really do any photo editing. So this is an option that you have with Canva. The other thing I want to show you is the ideas. I'm going to click on that here. And what that does is it will show you all of the different design ideas that Canva has. But up at the top here, I want you to look at the tools. They do have two really cool tools that I like. One of them is the color palette. And we're going to talk about this in one of the modules later on about color. You can take an image, and then what they'll do is they will get you all of the color values for that particular image so that you can use it in your design. Like I said, we will talk about how to do this later kind of manually, but if you want somebody to do it for you, if you're in a hurry, this would be a great place to do that. I mean, you can click try with our demo image and they'll load an image for you, and then they'll pull out all of the color values from that image, and then you can use those to design with. They give you the color values right here, and you're able to plug those into most any graphic design program that you'd be using, whether it be Canva, Pixel, or you can do it in Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, GIMP, Scribus, any of those. So it's a great kind of a universal color value that you would need to know. It's called the hex, H-E-X. That's one thing that I really like. And then the other thing too under their tools is font combinations. What they do is they'll help you with combining fonts. So like, let's see, my favorite one is Montserrat. So I'm going to click on that one. And then what they're going to do is they're going to show you what it looks like, as well as pair it with an opposite font, which, okay, so, and we're going to talk about this later, but Montserrat is more of a sans serif font. They've paired it with a serif font. Okay, and then I'm going to click over to the side here, and then they're going to give me a couple of different options. So they're showing me Esteban, they're showing me Babesnoya, and then they're showing me Varela Round. I'm probably slaughtering some of these font names, but that would be just a really cool thing that you can do. And then you can take those like Varela Round, and if this is a part where you're at, like if you're at this point in your branding process, you can go and you can search for them. And the cool thing is, like, if you find them on Font Squirrel or on Google Fonts, they're probably an open source or a free kind of font that you can use universally, whether it be for personal or commercial use. And so I especially like the ones that I find on Font Squirrel, because those are all pretty much for commercial use. So you can click on it and then you could download the font and install it on your computer. So that would be a really cool thing about that. Okay, so let's head back to Canva. And once you get signed up, you can do it a couple different ways here. Once you get signed up and you come back to it, you can always log in the upper right hand corner. Now I'm logging in with my personal account, not my business account, so I want to show you just a little bit of the difference between the two. So you're going to notice, first of all, the color of the top header of the screen is different. It will be another color in Canva for Business. So, but basically they work similarly. You can see I've got a couple different images that I've created here, but the top here is you can just start creating a design, and there's a more button, and this will show you all of the different pre-made sized layouts that you can use with Canva. So it's really cool because when you start getting into like, making maybe magazine covers, if you want to create some letterhead, you can do all sorts of stuff with it. I'm going to scroll down here a little bit and you'll see there's just tons and tons and tons of stuff. If you want to make your wedding invitations, you can even do that. I probably would recommend somebody doing that for you, but you never know. So, but these are all the different pre-sized images that you can create with Canva. So basically mostly what people want to do is they want to create like an Instagram post. So let's choose Instagram post. You're going to notice it will open in another tab in your browser. That's just kind of the way that they do it. Sometimes they'll give you a little hints. Visualize your data with beautiful charts. They got a new charts folder that you can create now. You just click done to get rid of those little hints. And then basically what you can do from this point is you can either choose any of these layouts that you want, and there's tons and tons and tons of them in here. I'm a big coffee fan, so maybe that's just an image that I want to use, but you can do whatever. Now from this point you can click on it and you'll see that it's selected it. And what I could do is I could switch out images if I want. I don't have to use the ones that they use. And you're going to notice, I should have pointed this out, in the lower right hand corner you're going to see which images are free and which ones are paid for. Let's go find maybe one of their paid for ones. They'll have a little dollar sign. Okay, I'll select this one. So basically what the dollar sign means is you got to pay for some aspect of this design, whether it's the actual design elements like these little guys. And if you zoom, I'm going to zoom in here for a second, and I'm going to do this in the lower right hand corner. Let me scroll up. And you can see over this design element, it's got hash marks in it. And it also says Canva as a watermark across it. So that design element is something that you have to pay for with Canva. And their design elements are $1, which is pretty reasonable. So, just depending on what you want to do, that's your option. In other instances, you'll find ones that have, let's go to this one once, the whole entire image that is paid for. So you can see here that it's got the hash marks across it with the Canva watermark, so you know that those two particular images are paid for images. And what you can do is you can simply replace those and you should not be charged for it. And you'll know, they'll tell you that you have to pay $1 for it, so you'll always get a notification every time that you're using something that's not free. So like, for example, this one. Okay, so this is the part that's the paid for element. So you would just have to replace that. Let's go back to one of their free ones. Let's see. Oh, we got a lot of paid for. Oh, let's go with this one. So this is a free one. So let's say I want to change that picture right there. The cool thing about it is you can actually go into your search bar and you can search for all sorts of different things. For example, if I want it to be coffee, because I like coffee, I can type it, hit enter, and it's going to pull in all sorts of free images that I can use. So if you notice, I just clicked and dragged and pulled it over into that box, and it just kind of replaced that other image that was there. Now you're going to notice this was not the same color as what it was over here, and it's because there's a filter that's been applied to it. So let's go over to filter, and I'm just going to click on normal, and that's going to bring it back to the original state. So you can go through and you can choose any sort of filter that they have here, and make it however you want to. So that's kind of a cool little feature that they have there. So you can adjust the intensity as well of that. The other thing that I like to do too is I'm going to zoom out a little bit here, and I'm going to double click on this image, and it's going to show me that image in its entirety. So if I chose a horizontal image, or if I chose a vertical image, it's going to show it to me, and I'm able to actually crop within that. Let's try this. Let's use this one as an example. Okay, so you can see that it is giving it to the full border, but I could adjust this by dragging it up or down. I can also make it, take up more of the images or more of the space as well. Okay, and then up here I just have to click the check mark, and then it brings it back. And then I think what I'm going to do too is I'm going to just apply a filter to that one, and I think I want to try and make it what I want to do. It's already at Nordic. It's already got a filter applied to it, but I want to make it a little less prevalent. So I want to change the transparency, which is over here on the right. So I'm going to drag the transparency down, and then I could go here, like with the images or with the text, and I could change the text. And if I want to, I can click change all and it will change everything on the page to that particular color, which is a really super sweet feature. So you're able to do that, and you're able to take any of these. I can still use my Command A or Control A to select all. I could bold it to make it stand out a little bit more. You'll notice as well I can change fonts, and they have a ton of different fonts. Now you are going to notice that they say, hey, look, you can upload your own fonts. And actually that's on the paid for version of Canva. So I'm going to show that to you here in just a little bit. But I at least wanted to go through and show you the really cool part of doing all of this. Here is what is a little bit kind of maybe a downfall of Canva. So let's say that I want to use this image on social media, but I want to change it a little bit. Like I want it to be for Twitter size, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to File and see if I have any options. Now I can make a copy of it, but making a copy of it really isn't going to do me a lot of good because I can't resize it. And so what I'm going to do is I could go over to Twitter, choose a Twitter post, and what I could do is I can copy that image and I can paste it, and notice that it doesn't do anything, which is kind of a bummer. So I'm going to zoom out here for a second. And this is just like a square, right? So I can't really do much with it. Okay, so what I would need to do is I would need to search for that particular image again. Go here to copy, hit enter, and it should be one of the first ones that pops up. Okay, now notice I clicked on it and it just placed it into my image. So I've got it selected. I'm going to delete it. This time I'm going to click and drag it in, and now it actually puts it in the image. Okay, and so I could adjust it as I want to. Hit my little check mark to accept it, and there you go. Okay, now notice I can adjust this to fit the size of the image. I can move this up a little bit. Maybe I want that little chocolate poking out there. But the kind of the point is I'm going to have to really remember all of these items. I'm going to have to figure out where this came from. It looks like it's a little wheel. And then try and recreate it over here. And so that is where it gets to be kind of a pain a little bit, especially when you're using any other custom made design. You have to kind of keep that in mind that, you know, it's fun to use this stuff, but you have to remember that when you want to recreate it for different sizes, it gets to be a little bit rough. I'm going to close that. Now notice when I closed it, up here on the left here, it says unsaved changes. It has not finished auto saving this image, and I'm just going to leave that page because I don't want to do it. So you always want to make sure that you watch up here for when it says all changes saved, and you'll know that that particular image has been saved, and you'll be able to see it back here on your all your designs page. And you're going to notice it does take a while sometimes for this to change. And so sometimes what I'll do is I'll go over and click on the title and I'll name it as, you know, whatever, March 13th social media Insta, and then I'll just save it, and then eventually it will update. So you do want to make sure you pay attention to this, especially if you plan on using any of your graphics over again. We've kind of covered how to search for images. We've covered how to create a new image. I want to show you there's the layout section, which again was all the pre-made images. But if we head over into the elements, the cool thing is you can actually create handmade items as well. So if I go into the grid section, it's going to give me a bunch of different grids for different types of images. So if I want to do like a dominant image and a not so dominant image, whoops, you're going to notice that what was in the background there is still there, so you can see through it. But what I can do is I can actually arrange and send it to the back. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm just going to take this and delete. Okay, so I could easily make a new document and do it that way. And you're going to notice I'm trying to get it so that the hashtag or the little crosshairs are there so I can delete the entire text box instead. Okay, so now I've got this, and then again I can go over to the free photos, which is also in the elements, and I can search for my coffee. I can just choose photos if I want. I can go back. Oh, where did that image go? It's like it's because I rearranged it a little bit. So I can use that same image. Let's see here. Oh. Okay, I had an extra image there that was there we go. Okay, so now what's happened, I double clicked in it and I can rearrange that and adjust it over here. Okay, and then I hit my check mark to accept the change. And then, if I wanted to, I could just look for illustrations. Maybe I want to put in a little, um, maybe I want to put this in there. And sometimes with these icons, it doesn't want to play nice all the time. I don't know if you notice there's like these little hairs that show up that show you whether you've got your items centered. So yeah, so sometimes pulling these into it, but what you can do is I believe I can change the color of that. Let's change it to like a gray. Yeah, there we go. So I just double clicked on that particular section and I changed the color of it. And actually with these too, you can change the colors of those icons. And so if I want to use kind of a blue, maybe a darker blue. Okay, actually, let's go a little bit more specific. We want that really kind of a navy blue, right? Ah, no, let's do this. This is where I get all crazy. Let's make it white, and then let's make the little gray parts the dark blue. See, so now it kind of matches the cup. Okay, and so I could also throw some text in there. So I'm going to go over to the text section, and I'm just going to I typed a little something. I'm going to drag it over here. And now if I want to, I can change the type of font it is. Again, we all know that I like Montserrat. Okay, I did that. And notice I didn't even have to select all of it. It just does it. And so when you want to use multiple fonts, you have to use them in separate text boxes. So just kind of a word to the wise there. And then if I want to, I can take that color and I could use that dark blue again. I can bold it. I can make it still a little bit bigger, and there you go. So I just want to show you at least a little bit of how you can kind of work with their pre-made stuff and how you can create your own. The other thing that I want to show you, there's a background which gives you patterns that you can use as the overall background behind your images, as well as the upload section. The cool thing about the upload section is you can actually upload your own images and work with it that way. It will also show you any of the purchased images that you've made on your Canva account, as well as you can connect your Facebook account and you could use any of your Facebook photos and create images from that too. One more thing I wanted to show you was the Canva for Business, and as you can see, it does look a little bit different. It's got a different kind of a header color, and I believe that's based off of what your logo colors are for it, but I could be mistaken because it's very similar to what I have. What you'll notice though here is I've got a lot more options, whereas with Canva, the free version, I didn't. So I'm going to click on the more button. You're still going to see that same amount of documents and stuff that you can create with the business account. But the cool thing is up here in the upper right hand corner is I could click use custom dimensions, and I could actually put in a particular size that I want to use. And that actually is something that you can do with your free account. So let me show you that once. Okay, so I could actually click on the use custom dimensions and I can do that. I can choose from pixels, millimeters, or inches. So you are able to do that there, and you're able to do the same thing here. So that's just something that I want to kind of keep in mind with you for both of those. You can do that in both sides. But the biggest change is that you can share things with other people. You could create a team, but the cool thing is you can actually input all of your brand items. And so what I've done here is I've uploaded my colors for both Content a la mode and for a cup of content, because I have two businesses, and so that my colors are always the same, so I don't have to worry about going to figure out what the color is for the dark blue part of my cup of content logo, so or whatever that the greenish blue is for Content a la mode. So every time I'm always exact. The other cool thing I can do is I can upload my own fonts, and you'll see that I've uploaded a couple of them as I've been playing around with my branding a little bit, but I can upload those. I could create, I can take these and I can edit what my heading one, my subheadings are, and what my body copy is. So I can always change any of those types of fonts there. And then the other thing that is really awesome, and I was kind of showing you a little bit about it before with the other side, is okay, so let's say I'm going to make an Instagram post. Okay, and you're going to see I've got pretty much the same types of layouts and stuff that I want to use. And so I can, let's see here, let's add this here. And what I can do is they're using Selima font, and so what I could do is I could find a different one. I can use my uploaded fonts or my brand fonts. I can change it to that. Okay, I can, again, just like I could before, I'm going to go and search for, let's do coffee. I'm going to find that same one, click and drag it over. Notice it applies that filter to it. I've got all the same icons options here, but the super cool part is, all right, so now I'm done, right? Okay, I got this Instagram one, but now I want to make sure that it is good for all of my other stuff too. So if I click on file, you're going to notice I have a lot more options now. I could change the dimensions of this particular image, or I can click magic resize, and it's going to give me every single possibility that they have done, and then I can choose any of those. So if I want a Pinterest graphic, I can do that. I want a Twitter graphic, I could do that. If I want to make a YouTube thumbnail, I could do that. I could do a Facebook cover photo. I can do all sorts of stuff. I think they even have like an email header and everything. And then all I have to do is come down to the bottom here and hit abracadabra resize, and you'll notice it opens several new tabs for me. And it names those tabs according to which type of image that it is. So I always know for sure which one it is. And then when you're renaming them in the design title, I typically try and include that in here too, like email header, and then, whatever the name of it is. Tolstoy quote. Okay, and then I click done. And so I know that every time when I come back here, it's going to tell me when this refreshes. And this does take a little bit to refresh over here, but there we go. All changes are saved. You could just refresh the screen and you'll see all of them. Yeah. So then it will tell you exactly what those quotes are, and you can rename them and things like that. Then from that point, I can double click on it. I could rearrange that a little bit if I wanted to. Still the same check mark. I could change the spacing. This is letter spacing. I can make the line height a little bit different so the letters aren't kind of running into each other here. Pull that, and I can click and drag that, pull that up. If I wanted to, I can make it, run a little bit longer across the page. And then I can change the size of the font as well, and I can adjust it. And then as I drag it, you notice there was that little purple line that showed up, so I know that it's centered across the middle of the page. That's all the different things that you can do with, with the business account versus the personal account. So see, I can go back over here and I can adjust that one. I can bring it up here and go to the Pinterest one because that one's a little bit taller. I can again adjust the line spacing so my letters aren't running into each other. I can go in and I can adjust the height of the font. I can make it here. I'm going to scoot this over a little bit and drag this guy down. Make sure it's centered. Do that there. See, and so there's all sorts of different things you can do with it, and still each of your images looks very much the same, and they still have the same graphic, the same fonts, the same, all that. So it's consistent across the board. The other thing too, I want to show you over in the uploads section. I just thought about this. You're actually able to categorize things by folders, which I think is really useful. So I can go into my cup of content and I could actually drag my logo in. You can upload your own logo as well, and you could do that too. Now notice since my logo that's the full color one, I might have to adjust to my white one. And I'm not holding shift or anything down to minimize these. As long as you grab a corner, it's going to stay in proportion. And so I would highly recommend that. Once you hold a shift key down, it'll start to stretch it, which is completely opposite than most other programs like Photoshop or InDesign, things like that. But then you're able to actually brand your stuff as well. And so that's just kind of a quick rundown on how Canva and for personal and Canva for business use works. So I will see you guys tomorrow with Pixlr.